Saratoga Board of Review meeting into session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the board of review. According to Wisconsin statute 70.473 AL, open book will be held on June 24th, 2024 from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Josh and a second by Chase to prolong the board review until June 24th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
No,
All those
1 to
in-
3.
Oh, from 1 to 3.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. I need a motion to adjourn?
That was the motion.
Yep. Yep.
That was the motion.
Okay, I thought the motion was to postpone the meeting.
To adjourn the board of review,
Okay,
and then we set the date. Yeah.
okay, so we're 2 and 1.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Now I call the Town of Saratoga Town Board meeting into session. Please all stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I always want to say amen after that. We love you. Boy, that's really giving me power. All right, shut this off.
I don't know.
Shut off your phones, guys, if you haven't already. Okay, let's convene into open session. We'll start with our reports. Constable, he's not here.
But he did give a written report that I have provided.
Under the pile. All right. Junk and nuisance violations, dogs, and a collapsed building. Okay. Just letters sent. So, any questions? I think I know a few of these. All okay? All right. Set those aside. Building inspector, Josh, there you go.
Yeah, I gave you the report there. There was just 11 permits last month. One was that commercial permit for the solar project. No new homes this month, but I have plenty of them that month. There's a lot this month though. And then a couple of complaints that I'm sure you're aware of both of those.
Mhm.
They're being handled.
Any questions for Josh? Okay, I would just like to make an announcement here to everybody out in public. We have a few people who are having lot line disputes. And here in Saratoga, we don't have a licensed surveyor on staff. So that being said, those are civil disputes. Those go between you and the neighbor, you and the police, and then you and attorneys. So that's not something that we can get involved in. When a building permit is taken out to set the distances away from lot lines, the building inspector, if he can see the marker in the ground, he will use that. If he cannot see it, we are taking your word. And if your neighbor disputes it, again, it's a civil matter. I just wanted to clarify that because we have been getting a lot of phone calls. All right, going on. Zoning administrator. At this point in time, that's me. We've had some inquiries into home-based businesses, and we welcome home-based businesses as long as they're truly a home-based business and they meet the criteria that we have set forth in the town of Saratoga. That being said, what else have we got going here? We've had some inquiries to a couple of commercial businesses that are interested in coming into the town. I'm not at liberty to say what they are at this point in time, of course, but we are open for business, so it's good to know. And I think that's about it. Paulette, do you know of anything that I've been yakking about lately?
Just trying to think of.
Oh, we have our pickup, our recycling this Saturday.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's zoning or not, but hopefully it'll help everybody clean up. I think that's about it. Road crew, nobody's here. Oh, Douglas, I'm sorry, I'm looking for
I
Casper.
can handle that.
All right,
All right, well, the road crew, they've been busy shouldering. Also, we started on our construction project on Camilla and Yorkshire, meaning we're taking the grassy area out. That should be pretty much done. We're gonna go look at dips tomorrow. We should have somewhere between 6 and 10, somewhere in there, to repair later on this year. Road bids are out, obviously, for mill, or they're going to be, I think it's June 1st, isn't it, Paula?
We will open them, it'll be the third Wednesday in June.
Okay,
17th.
all right.
The
So anyway, they're out.
19th.
That consists of mill and Camilla and Yorkshire. Seal coating, I'm not sure when Josh is gonna, or,
Right now, it's looking like probably into June, just kind of.
and with that being said, that's all I got.
Okay, did you get a chance to look at Tower?
Yes, I
today?
did.
And,
We got that, we'll be taking care of that shortly. They did put up a low shoulder sign today, so, because the shoulder was broke off,
okay,
but we're working on that. And we'll send it all to the concrete folks.
sounds great. Sounds good. Anybody have any questions?
What's the work being done on Yorkshire? Are they just prepping for
The cul-de-sac, it was just one 10-foot or 20-foot mat circle.
Okay.
We're gonna pave the center of it. Them seem to be always a maintenance headache, so they're easier to plow with them, so
so we're
that,
just taking the center out?
yeah, they took 4 inches of soil out. There was red granite underneath it, and then they put 4 inches of gravel back in. That being said, we're gonna put 3 inches on top of that, so you'll have 6 inches of gravel base there on that, which will be good.
Okay.
So they're just taking the center out right now. Our crew did that.
Yep, okay.
Were we able to use that black dirt over here?
They put it in a pile. We've got a use for it.
All right.
We've talked about, what they have is when they mow, there's stumps that are buried in the ditch line, and you get these big holes, and I said, use that stuff on all them holes in the ditch, you know, and level it out. I don't know, you folks probably don't see a lot of them driving down the road, but there's spots that they'll just fall right in and come back out because the stumps are decaying underneath the ditch line of the road, so they can use that material to fill that in.
Okay, we took those fence posts out too. If they can use some of it for that, that would be great. I think our lawnmower guy would appreciate that. And as everybody might have noticed, we took the fence out in front and along the side here for better viewing, and it makes us look more inviting, I think. So hopefully everybody likes that. All right, anybody have any more questions for Doug? Carl? No?
That was easy.
Yeah, good night. All right. Plan Commission, Josh, you're up.
All right, so we finalized the driveway ordinance. That's on our agenda for tonight. The sign ordinance is gonna be looked at again, or tonight too, right? That's been revised.
Yep.
We looked at a couple of CSMs on the last meeting. One of them's on the agenda for tonight, and the other one went back to the
Surveyor.
surveyor, okay? That's about it. That's all the updates I have.
Okay, good. Anybody got any questions? Okay, moving on. We have a couple new members on the Plan Commission. They're fitting in real good. Little over their head right now, but it's always like that the first couple meetings, but they're doing real well. They bring a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, they looked around quite a bit during that first meeting.
Yeah.
We didn't explain anything to them either. We just kinda threw them in there, so.
Yeah,
They caught on pretty quick.
Yes, one's a previous police officer and the other is a businesswoman. So we're bringing in that aspect into our Plan Commission, and we really like that. Clerk,
So we have open book, which would be June 17th, where Claude will be here, if anybody wants to talk to Claude about their property values. And then June 24th, from 1 to 3, is the border review. And then in your packets, there was information, there was some, there was one letter that I gave you guys in it as an example, as well as a list of the names of the people, the date of the accident and the amount that was paid. So they were invoiced, they were like non-residents invoiced for a fire call. They were, the bills have not been paid. So I'm going to send it to Trip, but I have to send them a letter. And after 10 days, if they don't pay it, then it gets sent to Trip. But it was just more to give you guys all FYI in case you would receive a phone call.
Do you want to explain to the citizens how that works here if we get a fire call or an emergency call?
We have an ordinance, so if there is a fire call, emergency call, if it's a non-resident or if they are negligent, they will be billed for the fire trucks that come out, as well as the firefighters, responders that,
Just firefighters.
that respond to the incident, so.
But if you're a resident and not at fault, or if you're a resident and your house burns, Saratoga, we make payments for that every year, everybody does who has
Yep.
property here, so you don't get billed for that,
As long as you're not negligent.
yeah. All right. Anything else? Paula?
Nope, I think that's good.
Treasurer, there you go.
Dog licenses, so I sent out, we had 119 dogs when the letters went out that were not licensed, and we are now down to 80 dogs not licensed, so.
That's a pretty good drop.
It is,
40.
it is, yeah, so, and there'll be some, you know, and some have passed away, some have moved out of Saratoga, and then others were, whoops, I forgot, so they'll be hopefully keep coming in, and we'll get that down.
How long does it usually take?
It takes a while.
Does it?
If
'Cause
we
some
were
people-
talking about this in October.
Yeah, it takes until it starts over again, doesn't it?
Pretty much, because some people can't, you know, they want their vet, and if they can't get the rabies vaccination in time with their vet, then they call for an extension because it's, you know, they're trying, but I can't license it without an updated rabies, so. Yeah.
I've heard you on the phone.
Have you? So,
So we also have, not only do we have a contract with the Humane Society for dogs, but we also have one for cats. How's that going? Do you know?
I hear nothing with the cats.
We just have a set dollar amount that we pay them each year. So like the year before, we set aside 2,500, but there were more dogs and cats turned in than what we had, so we had extra we had to pay.
Okay. We gotta talk about that, I think, next contract. I think we need some discussion. All right. Anybody have any questions for the clerk or the treasurer? Anybody in the audience? No? Okay, moving on. Informational announcements by board members.
I got nothing.
I really don't have much either.
I got one complaint of a mobile home that had been moved in at 599 Highway 73 South. I don't know if that's being worked on.
4 people are working on that.
Okay.
We got her covered.
Okay,
Yeah.
I kind of thought so.
It's an interesting situation, but
I just wanted to bring it up.
I'm
Oh,
glad
yeah,
you
that
did.
was the shed, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to
That
be
was the
turned into a
shed.
shed
Yeah.
or something, and it's a mobile home, and it's junk, and I don't, okay.
Alright.
That's all I got.
All right, so last month, I was told that I should have some signs made up for the brush site and the transfer site. So these are the new signs that will go up outside the brush site. And then, can you get that one? And then this goes out on one side of the transfer site. This one's kind of heavy.
Nice.
And then that one's for the hours and what's allowed and not allowed. And the hours are posted on that one.
Who made the signs?
Signs are us. It took me about 4 days to get it all right, but eventually I succeeded. We just received them today though. And
Nice.
we want to put them just past the right of way, maybe on a post or something.
Yeah, so when they pull in, they can see it.
Right, and we didn't have something that says closed or open, because I had a feeling that maybe that verbiage would be lost shortly, so I just put the times and the hours on the sign itself. So I think that'll work. I'll have the guys put them up when they get time. sometime next week. Yeah, I gotta hold on to these tears, I'm scared they're gonna run off on me. All right, site plan. Oh, yeah, the airboats, oh, yeah, the airboats. We need to talk, yeah, I guess we do. We've had, several concerns about airboats on the river. So I did know that we have no jurisdiction at all on, the river. We do on private lakes, but not on the river. So I contacted the DNR, and the DNR kinda was a little, well, don't you have an ordinance? Well, maybe the police department would help. And so I don't like to mess around, so I called our attorney and I said, this is how I read the state statutes, and am I wrong? And he said, no, you're not wrong. And the DNR has to manage it, but they gotta manage it by sound. So it's so many,
Decibels.
85 decibels. So, yeah, they're handling it now, but it's a big deal because they have races. And the races are from morning till night, and the people who live along County Tronzita do not like it, and I don't blame them, because they're very, very loud. So it's being addressed with the DNR. So that being said, I think that's enough. That was not my favorite topic this week.
Sounds like a no-wake zone.
Yeah. That ain't gonna happen.
We cannot even put an ordinance in place, just so everybody knows, because we can't control the river. All right. Anybody have any questions as far as that goes? Anybody in the audience there? Okay. Site plan review for L. Wenzel, and the address is actually 11269 Highway 13 South. It's the correct parcel number, but the addresses were a little mixed up, and we got them straightened out with emergency planning and zoning. So it's all covered. I think you guys all got the information in your packet. It was given to the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission, the only thing that we really addressed that was the gutters on a steel roof. They really don't last very long with the ice coming off the metal roof. So they are looking at putting verbiage into the zoning to allow to put stone around the building, 3 feet out, and then they have a size requirement. So that's the only change. Josh, do you remember anything else?
No, that was the only thing that we addressed. Everything else looked good, and we complimented how detailed it was. And this is actually our first site plan review with the new zoning in place, so everything that we wanted to see was all here, and more than what we expected from.
Look good.
Yep, we recommended, the plan commission recommended approval for to the board.
Okay, so I need a motion here at board level after, I'm sure you've all looked at it.
So what's the process once we get past approval, this goes to the county and then the?
No, the county doesn't, the county has given us our right to zone.
Okay,
So we have set a process in place that says we want a commercial property to have these requirements. And for Mr. Wenzel, he's building a lot of commercial buildings, so it's very inviting to the town of Saratoga for new commercial businesses. But we don't want them to look like cracker boxes, so they all look the same.
right.
So he has put some architectural detail on them.
Yeah,
So you'll see the
looks nice
stone
when I
and
see
on,
it.
yeah, they look very appealing. So, that's all stated in our zoning ordinance, what's required, and he's met all of that, plus some,
Okay,
so,
and he's meeting everything as far as state requires for being on Highway 13
yes.
and driveway going out, because I see he's not going up to the shared access there.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah,
It's-
Oh,
it
it's
is,
one
okay.
driveway.
Yeah, it goes off into like a Y.
Oh, okay, when I looked over here, it looked like it was not going.
Oh, that might be his big driveway. Yeah, he's got big parking area up
Okay, so
there.
the shared access is in front of
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then it doesn't affect much.
Okay. Does he need a well permit or electrical permit or anything like that?
His buildings are basically structural with electrical.
Okay.
And then whoever comes in, they self-design what
So
they
they'll do
want.
the
And-
sanitary permits and all that, then? Okay.
And then when there's signage and when they decide what kind of business, if it's something different than just a regular business, they'll come in and see us again.
So you're looking for approval? of
I'm
the-
looking for a motion of approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan for, oh, where am I looking?
Is that what it looks like still?
11269.
11269
Still look
Highway
like that?
13.
Is that what it looks like still?
Yeah.
I have pictures of the current site if you wanna see it.
Oh, I wondered what I did with those.
You said they were
Motion
mine.
figured out?
I
Okay.
can make one.
I will second that, well,
Okay, I have a motion by Chase and a second by Carl to approve the site plan for L1Zell at 11269 Highway 13 South, parcel number 1800354E. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion has it. Welcome to the neighborhood again, Al.
Thank you.
We're pleased to see that you're doing commercial construction here. That really, I think they've really added a lot to the town. All right, let's move on. Driveway ordinance adoption. Okay, this has been 6,
6, this will be 7. This final draft is 7.
okay.
Okay.
And,
No.
well, explain, I wrote it that
I
many
don't want it
times.
to be an 8.
A little verbiage, just a small little verbiage thing.
I wanted to write it once, but it didn't turn out that way. There were corrections. Spelling and indentation and, some verbiage.
I got one.
I've got a couple that I,
All right. All right, let's go, guys. Tell me which ones.
Okay.
Anything on page 1?
No, actually, page 7 is where I started.
There you go, what page you got?
I am on page, 7.
Okay.
Okay, give it to me.
Okay, mine is driveway materials,
Got it?
where it says shall be constructed with a hard surface.
Yes.
In some of the ordinances and some of the other areas, hard surface means concrete or blacktop.
Right. It can also be compacted, the
In
road
gen-
base or compacted gravel.
In general, with construction, that is not considered hard surface.
Well,
What-
I'm just saying.
Right, I agree with you, that was actually my
Some-
first thing there.
Because I know somebody in Rapids got in trouble about that, so.
Right.
This camper was not on a hard surface.
This says to me that they have to pave or concrete a driveway.
Right. If a guy just put, all driveways shall be constructed with a surface that will sustain passage of emergency vehicles.
That was much too fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or,
All driveways shall be
That will
constructed,
sustain passage of emergency vehicles.
or,
hard or compactable surface.
I like his better,
Yeah, well, mine's broad.
shorter.
So you could go a minimum of a compacted gravel surface.
Well, we
In
had
the-
that in there.
In the ordinance, there is a 3-inch, I think.
We did have that in there. However, that means that somehow we have to measure the compaction.
Well, you can put 3 inches of state spec gravel. Then you wouldn't get halter granite or whatever, something like that in there.
All we care about is that those fire trucks can go through it without falling through it.
What about crushed concrete?
Recycle.
So, could you read yours again?
All driveways shall be constructed with a surface that will sustain passage of emergency vehicles.
I like it.
So if they argue that their dirt driveway is hard enough to.
It's always gonna land right
We're just
there.
gonna send Mike out there if he gets stuck, it doesn't matter.
If Mike says I'm not going down there, then he's not going down
You
there.
don't go down it, that's it.
There's a lot of driveways we can't go down.
Right.
Just with overgrowth trees
Yep.
and people think it looks beautiful because they're little station wagon or minivan too, but
There is,
$5,750,000 truck. that goes-
there is verbiage in here about that,
Yep.
that addresses that as well. It's something like, what is it, 12 by 14 or something?
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's right up on
14 by
top.
14.
14
Yeah.
by 14.
But
So-
But is it enforced?
But that does not address
Hmm?
what's.
we cannot enforce, no, we can't
Right.
enforce it.
2 in the morning, we're not gonna do tree trimming.
Right,
We're
No,
just gonna run hose and
right.
and hope
relay
that you can
pump
get
back
there.
there, you know.
And we discussed the enforcement on this too, I mean,
Yeah.
are we gonna be out patrolling it? No, but
But to have something.
we have in writing, and,
Yeah.
you know, if something would happen and you park on the road and they get upset about it, well, right, this is why.
And they will get a copy stating all of this when they
Yep.
build a house or take out a shed permit on a piece of property that doesn't have any other building.
Right.
So there, where someone says, you know, I didn't know, well, sorry,
Yeah.
you did. Josh will be giving it to him. Okay, anything else?
So the next one I saw was on page 9.
And I just want to say something to the audience. If anybody out there wants a copy of this driveway ordinance, all you have to do is call the clerk. Her name is Paulette. And just ask her and she'll provide that to you.
It'll be available
So
online.
on page 9, and it could possibly stay, it's under appeal right now, variances
Yes.
on one there. It says a concrete apron is desired and it must be approved, inspected. You know, that whole thing, we have no other mention of a concrete approach here.
That's
And I
be-
think that could get slipped over real quick if people don't think there's any need to appeal. I think it needs to be mentioned somewhere.
That'll be on the permit itself too, though.
Well, that permit always has to kind of refer back to your ordinance, though.
And we do have it
So-
here in the variance. Because that's the only thing the concrete driveway is a variance. It's not a mandate.
Nope, and it gets recorded at the register of deeds too.
Yeah. Come on, Chase.
Well, I guess I would like to see some mention of it in 703. Driveway and culvert location, general design.
Chase, I did have it there, and our attorney said, put it where it belongs. Serious? He
Okay.
did.
I just think it can get glossed over really quick
I
and
know,
people put it in without even realizing it.
I know, and I did actually have it there, but he said, well, it doesn't really make sense to have your,
Well, maybe we,
I
Can
could
we
put
put
in
permitted-
parentheses.
you know, permitted approach materials will be DOT road grade material or
State
pavement.
spec?
What?
State spec?
Yeah, state spec, DOT approved material or pavement. And even maybe put a note, concrete is not permitted without a variance. Because I just think it's where it's at, if people think they're doing their driveway right and it's not mentioned what's approved, what's appropriate, they're gonna go through this whole thing, they're gonna see, oh, well, appeal, I don't need an appeal, I'm putting in everything right. And
I could put a notation under 7.05 where it says special requirements for residential driveways. And I could put G, and I could say if if concrete is requested in the road right of way, a variance is required, see page,
See section 7.1.
see section, is
I'm fine with that.
that all right?
Yeah, I just think it needs to be mentioned more than in that spot, because
All right, I can do that. How's that sound to you?
Yeah.
and then that's it for what's kind of there. I also have a concern that we've got a lot of areas that these roads were never built right in the first place. They don't have ditches, we don't have the place to put them, and we're putting in culverts that are buried. We're forcing people to. I think there's a way to address where there's a potential for a culvert to be needed in the future and at the homeowner's expense without making them bury one a foot below the surface. So You know, I'd like to see something, I kinda typed something up and Lorelai's already changed a lot on it, but something along those lines added in.
So, what 7.02 says is culvert requirements. If a culvert is required, no person shall construct any driveway or private road in a public right-of-way of the town of Saratoga without installing a culvert which is in full compliance with this section 7.08. And what 7.08 is the specs on a culvert.
And-
So, go ahead, Chase.
And so I'd like to see something where, because right now, we can see some potential for water movement, but we really don't have the ditches to support this. And, you know, I'll let you guys look at this. I mean, this is the ditch before anything was applied, and that's
Is
buried.
that one yours, Chase?
Yes.
Yeah, and the problem with what we've run into with Chase is he's in a low spot. There's water coming down, and when it gets to the bottom, it goes back through the woods. So if we put his driveway in without a pipe, that water's gonna dam up, it's gonna go back on the road. This way, it still has the potential to get back in the woods.
If you keep that approach down, though, it'll run over the driveway if it gets to that point.
Yeah, good luck with that, but
Well, the
Okay.
way it's buried, I think we'll see problems with it.
I feel sometimes people, if you don't look where that water's gonna go, if the, Casson had permitted too, if you don't look where the water's gonna go, you might have issues that, I'd rather have it there than have an issue with water going out on the road, because now you end up with liabilities and stuff. That's my main concern.
How deep is the top of this pipe from grade right now?
About 8 inches.
So I have a
And
suggestion.
so that is all filled with rock. So
But the problem with that, all the water goes into that low spot.
it may, but the time we're concerned about in this town, because we have sandy soil, is in the spring when everything's frozen. If that's below grade, you're already gonna have that frozen. I mean, I've got it in, I put the expense, it was about $700 to put that culvert in there. But I don't see why, when we don't have the infrastructure, the ditches and that in place, why we should be having these residents do that. Now, there's potential for us ditching in the future, and if we could word it in a way to where it will be required if we,
So one question, where would the water go if you didn't have that pipe in there?
over the driveway. I would've dug it down about 8 inches and
That
added
wasn't what you
gravel.
told us. That
I
driveway
did
was
tell
gonna
you,
be
I would've
level.
gone with the grade,
Yeah.
and
If you dam that water up before your driveway, it will go across the road.
if the driveway is above the grade of the road. If it's below the grade of the road, it will run across.
Okay.
And we already have it in this ordinance elsewhere that you cannot provide your
Let me show you
driveway
what
so that it
happens.
drains down towards.
Okay, so my idea is to settle this
Where's his?
whole thing, I think this will make both of you guys happy. If no culvert is required at the time of construction, and if future work is done, like raising the road, digging ditches, etc., resulting in a necessary culvert to provide adequate drainage, the cost of the culvert will be at the property owner's expense. If all that transpires is ditching the culvert and installation, that's not what I wanted to say. So if we just do the ditching, then the culvert and the installation will be at the owner's expense. So in other words, if we're raising the road, we normally do fix the driveways. But if that's the case, then the owner just has to pay for the culvert. However, if we are ditching because of water, and a culvert is then required, then the owner will pay for the culvert and the installation as it is now.
It's after the fact, though, you know that, right?
Yeah.
After the water would be on the road.
Well, right now, there was no ditch.
It is?
Yeah,
Well, it comes down from and then it goes back in the woods just past his driveway. So it's gotta get from up there on the other,
okay.
if he put,
I'm not specifically talking about
It's nothing
Chase's.
against Chase. Don't
No,
get
I'm
me
not
wrong.
even talking about his property. We're
But if
getting
you
a lot
don't
of
put a
complaints.
culvert in- if you visualize it, and you don't put if we block, you would dam the water. It couldn't get, even though it's in a hollow, it goes back in the woods just past where his driveway is. So it's gotta get there. How's it gonna get there if you don't put a pipe in there?
I guess I don't see it going down 1.5 feet, coming back up on the other side and going through that road
But
either.
the water flow is lower going into the woods. That's where it wants to go.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I've seen that before.
That's about the general in most of Saratoga, except
Oh,
for certain areas.
Yeah, but
where there's
what
water
I'm
issues.
saying is, right now, if we don't require culvert, such as we did not do over on that side, when we do the ditching, then a culvert is required. I don't wanna pay for their culverts, and I don't wanna pay for their driveways, because that should have been done
Exactly.
initially, and that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying in here.
Right.
Do you want to see them, or
Uh,
you've seen them already, probably?
No, I haven't, but, oh, yeah, I guess I did see this one. But I'm just saying we should add that verbiage in there. If we're doing road work and we're digging up because of road work, then the culvert, if a culvert needs to be replaced, that should be at the owner's expense.
Normally, when you do a reconstruction on a road, a total reconstruction, the town usually puts driveway pipes in, because then you get the right depth and everything.
So we already do that, but we don't have anything in here that says we
We've
do
done it
that.
on the other ones we've done. We've done it over here on Young and
Okay.
where we've done complete reconstruction, which we don't do a lot.
But we don't have anything, I guess what I'm saying is we didn't have anything in here, and I think we need to have some
I'm
verbiage.
not sure if that's in the statute or not. I'd have to look at that.
I didn't look at the statute,
I
I'll
want to
look
look
at
at that once.
yeah. I didn't think they would address something like that, but that's good.
Yeah, because it's in our right of way or their right of way.
I know where to look, I'll just grab it so I know in the morning. All right, what's next here, you guys?
In this case right here, if we have water flow to that driveway, it's gonna fill this pipe and sit there.
No, it'll go through the pipe and back through the woods.
But it
It's
can't.
deeper
It's up in
than-
the- It's in a hole.
You know, it'll come out, it'll go through the woods. It'll go there before it goes on the road.
Well, yeah, but before, I mean, in order for it to go back in the woods, it's gotta fill this ditch up. It's gotta fill this culvert, it's gotta.
Oh, yeah, it'll fill it, but it'll still go through and go back. It won't go out on the road. If you dam it up before his driveway, it's gonna go up and then out on the road. So you gotta give the water a place to go. It's that simple. Where's it gonna go? You gotta get it under the driveway. If you're coming down and it's going in the woods.
We already have it, and I don't remember exactly where in here, but we have in the design that the driveway cannot be created in a way so that it sheds water out onto the road. Basically, that means you have to keep your driveway below the grade of the road, and so if you have a damming up of water, it's gonna run across that driveway before it poops.
There's not many driveways that are below the surface of the road.
The only thing, maybe this is something, I think this whole sentence, this whole thing is cleared up by the simple sentence that says, if a culvert is required, if it's required, and then if it is required, then you have to put it in.
Yeah, that's how they permit them. They'll look at it and see, visually where the water is going and decide whether it needs a pipe.
And
or
we
not.
did have a minimum of a 15-inch culvert in here, and we took it out.
15, yeah.
We took that out. So it just says if it's required, it's up to the road public works guy to decide what size. And we know that they go down pretty small, and it really doesn't pay to put a real small one in. But
What's that?
That's 15.
because that is the minimum at this
Right.
point in time. But in our new ordinance, we didn't address the size in case 12-inch, because 12-inch have been called out lately. So that's why there is no size in here.
15 is usually, that's not a real big culvert, 15 inch, isn't it? Yeah. It's not real big.
Yeah.
What if the ditch isn't deep enough to get it buried?
There's spots that
Dig
that
deeper.
happens.
That's when you get like
Got a
that.
couple of them where I had to go to like 8 or 10 inch, cause you gotta get some fill over the top of
Yeah,
them.
well, the other part of that is if you get a 15 and you bury half of it, if they come along and ditch, then you still got the pipe there. That's the reality of that. A culvert pipe doesn't have to be, you know, if the ditch is level with half of it, that water's still gonna flow through it. But if you didn't have one, it's gonna stop, that's where it stops.
On the size of culverts, how about if you do according to water flow?
Well,
It normally is.
Yeah.
On their permit, they,
It does, okay.
they state what size culvert is going to be
Yeah.
needed for that,
So
so.
water flow, that's in the area.
That's a minimum.
Okay.
You know, you could have a 24 inch or a 30 inch if you're deep enough with water flow.
The biggest thing with going too small on a culvert though is if you have a problem, the smaller they are, the harder they are to clean out.
Mhm.
So if you have a 10-inch culvert, it's really hard to clean that out. 15 inch is not always easy, but it's easier than.
Especially with the plastic now, it's a lot easier, they're smooth.
Yeah.
A 15 inch plastic flows like an 18 inch corrugated. So you get the same flow out of both of them, only 15 is smaller because of the corrugation.
All right, so we're going,
There are cases that you don't, if it's on the top of a hill someplace, they see that it doesn't need, you don't need a culvert. So it's not that everybody needs a culvert. It's a visual thing where's the water going to go? Is it gonna go on the road, or is it gonna be dammed up, or what is it?
yeah, and that's kind of my point. When I wrote this, I was very kind of generic,
We talked about it for a long time,
yeah.
and then we decided that if a culvert is required,
If
Yes.
it's big, the big
That's
word.
exactly right. If a
that's how
culvert-
we worded it. If a culvert's required, no person shall construct any driveway or private road in the public right of way of the town of Saratoga without installing a culvert which is in full compliance with section 708.
And some of them are tough, they're borderline, but I tell you what, I'd rather,
Ear in the side of a culvert.
yeah.
See what you did there. So do you think we need to change 702, or can we leave it the way it is?
Actually, I think what I put in here is basically what it says here. Because all this is saying is that if a no culvert is required at the time of construction, which is what this says, if no culvert is required, and road work is done in the future, if it's necessary to put in a culvert resulting in the necessary culvert, then to provide adequate drainage, the cost of the culvert will be at the property owner's expense. That's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know if that needs to be in here.
I guess my thought between having something in there is that it gives a tool to, because when I went out and we looked at this, there was, well, what if we raise the road? What if we ditch it? Well, okay, what if?
What
Then
if-
we put in a pipe.
Right.
You know, it's, why make a pipe go in for a what if that may or may not ever happen?
The other question we had when we looked at it, where's the water gonna go when it hits your driveway? Without a culvert pipe?
Yeah, I understand that, but as I said, if you keep that driveway level below the level of the road, it will run across the road. Or it will
driveway.
run across the driveway there. and it will get to the other side at that point. And right now, from the blacktop, well, chip seal road there, over to where the lowest spot was in there, on the one side was 3 inches.
It's gonna go back into the woods there at that point, right?
I don't know that it ever
hasn't
would.
been- It hasn't been on the road.
Right, it hasn't been on the road, and I
So-
talked to the property owner there, and he said there has never been water running through anywhere there. So, you know, but it's not really about just this location.
No.
We're telling people all over the town
Yeah, you
that
have-
they have to have a 15-inch culvert.
No,
When,
no, that's not true. There are a lot of them that don't have pipes.
you're right, about 90% of the driveways in Saratoga do not have pipes.
And I can tell you, we've had a
But we've
lot,
been telling everybody that has taken out a driveway permit recently that they have to have a 15
yeah, I
inch.
don't know about that. I haven't seen him, what he's been.
Well, I've talked to a few of them. There's been people complaining that they don't have the ditch to support that culvert. There's been a lot of them.
Maybe we need to have our public works guy go to training.
Well,
To
you can
see,
do that. I mean, it's more of a visual thing. If you're coming downhill, if the water's coming downhill,
yeah,
you know you're gonna need a pipe.
yeah, I agree with
If you're
that.
on the top of the hill, you're not gonna need a pipe. I mean,
But,
and you're right, Saratoga roads are like this.
yeah,
Well, and that's, this road, every 200 feet
Mhm.
goes up and down. It's the property you got out there that you just talked to me about.
so maybe we need to address that, Doug. And then after that, we'll,
Well, your road guy, I don't know what he's putting in for pipes. If he's,
12 to 15,
Well, yeah, he actually put down 10 on here, but to get the proper size pipe, I didn't want to go that low. So, so I put in bigger than the 10, not to mention the 10 would be almost impossible. to
it's
clean
one
up.
of them things in a town, you certainly don't want water to go out on the road.
No.
That's just, if you can.
But I also-
potential-
go ahead.
If you can potentially stop that, that's the time to do it when they're putting the driveway. It's a lot harder to come back and say, Chase, now you've gotta put a pipe in. What do you mean? You gave me a permit. You put the pipe in.
Yeah, we ran into that on Range in Church. We know how that one's gonna go.
I don't know,
I just hate to have a homeowner incur added cost when,
We'll never see it again.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's my biggest.
Eventually,
That
it's gonna be
pipe's
done.
complete, and to be honest, I'm a little worried. We got utilities put in there, or they put new utilities in the ditch. They're not even gonna know that culvert's there. They're gonna bore right through those.
I've seen them bore through pipes already.
Well, I know, but if they don't know, it's dumb enough when they can see the pipe. When they can't see the
They do it
pipe,
when they can see it.
there's, you got an issue, so. I don't know.
Actually, the utilities are supposed to be on the backside of the right of way.
Well, they run both sides of that pipe on this.
Yeah, I know.
They're right there, so. I had to go right down between them.
Yeah.
Do you want to add your sentence that you wrote to 7.02?
10.02.
Yeah.
See you, Al.
See you later.
You,
Just a sentence after the sentence that's already there, if you want
okay. About who's gonna install, who's paying for it?
to, yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else?
And Chase, this is what you wrote, right?
Yeah, she adjusted that.
Yeah, and this,
Massively
this
already.
is basically
Yeah,
what's here, just in different words.
yeah,
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I think if we add the cost,
It was
if
more
determined
putting
a
in-
culvert, if a culvert's determined to be needed at a future date, the homeowner pays for it.
Yeah, that's essentially right.
okay,
What, if we do something to change that road, improve the drainage, do whatever, ditching should have been done on these roads when they were first built. Will we ever get to ditching them? Probably not, but
not unless
if we
have
do
that.
ever get the initiative to, we do need to get them on the driveways.
Right?
All right,
But
okay, going forward, anything else? Everybody said they had things. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
only other thing I saw that is the minimum 75-foot frontage.
Where is that,
Um,
Chase, please?
Shared driveway 705D, D1.
Okay.
or no, D.
D2. Oh, there's two
One-
number
I was
ones.
gonna say, there's two number ones, so.
There's- Okay, there shall be one residential structure on a private driveway.
Not that I'm trying to oppose, I'm just trying to understand why is there a minimum 75 foot there when we got a 66 foot designated?
That's
as
in
an
our
easement?
zoning. That's our new zoning. Yeah. That's the frontage, that's not the driveway width.
Right. I thought we did 66 foot width for frontage. It was 75 if you wanted to put a duplex back there.
I have it right here, look.
I mean, a frontage road.
Yeah.
Just frontage of your lot, lot frontage, 75 minimum on a street.
66 width designated as an
Okay.
easement,
And
75 feet.
lot
for frontage
width,
and one front
300. That's for rural residential, rural suburban. Lot frontage 75 feet, a duplex was 150 feet.
Okay. All right, so we were at 75 foot.
And that 75 was
But
to
that-
keep it off the lot line. Keep that 66 foot easement off the lot line, I thought.
Oh, could be,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't have an easement right on the lot line.
it could be.
Well, if you're doing a shared driveway, wouldn't you want it on the lot
I
line?
see a mistake we have here, we gotta look at, now that I'm reading this. But go
Okay.
for it.
Well,
That's what our zoning says. Maybe
Sure.
that's something we gotta address in our zoning again. We can talk about it at the next plan.
okay. Well, if that's the reason.
But that is what it says in our zoning, so we do have to follow that until our zoning changes.
Right, okay.
That's zoning, that's frontage?
Yes, that's frontage along a public right of way. Wow, that's not good. You know what that means? No more, private roads, because they're not, they don't have frontage along the right of way, along a public right of way. So that's gotta be wrong, we gotta talk about that. All right. Anything else?
Laura, mine's probably very simple.
Shirley.
Did you say sure it is?
I said Shirley.
Okay.
I'm
Page
sorry.
8, 7.08, culvert size and type shall be determined by the town inspector or town maintenance supervisor, which is Doug, or should that be Public Works?
Town maintenance, it should be public works.
Okay, and then, unless specifically accepted by the town building inspector, he's looking at driveways now,
I did, I mean, when I was, so where did you see that?
right after, it. same
Okay,
paragraph there.
so it should be,
Unless specifically accepted by the,
town designated,
Yeah, a town designee.
town designee.
okay? And then the very next page, at the top, letter E, again, it says quality acceptable to the town maintenance supervisor. I'm thinking you want Public Works
Public
there.
works. Yep. Got it.
And just out of curiosity, page 8, 7.07, letter C.
This is more than a couple.
I'm sorry, this is the last one.
Okay, go ahead.
Proof of insurance and a cash bond? Is that really supposed to say that?
As determined by a
That's-
town board, if it becomes, if there's an issue, yes.
So temporary driveways are usually put in for logging purposes or
Okay.
something along those lines.
But it's called a cash bond?
Yeah, we can do one or the other, but
Okay, so that is,
it
it is a thing, okay.
It is a thing, yeah.
Okay, that's all I was curious about.
Yeah, and I don't know that we've ever done it, but.
Do we wanna put that and or a cash bond?
um,
Well, no, we probably, if we don't
No,
always
I
require it,
would
then-
I would say both would be required. Because proof of insurance, you can take out insurance today and cancel it tomorrow, and that's it. That's their proof, I mean, you know, where cash bond, that's actually something we got in our hands.
And
As
type,
determined by the board.
Yes.
So you could just determine, you just want insurance, or you just want cash bond.
No,
Or you could
because
say
it's
you want
and.
both.
It
And?
says and.
And so you would be, yes. you
By,
would do both.
by law, it's both.
And typos is not a big deal, we'll just fix those. If we find any.
Yes, please.
Find it.
All right.
Shouldn't find it.
Oh, my gosh.
We're
This
not
is like,
destroying the
yeah,
kid.
this is like getting torn apart. in
No,
front
no,
of the
this
public.
is, that's a
No,
lot
I'm
of work
okay.
that you did, and
No, I'm okay.
we all appreciate,
No,
Is anything wrong with page 11? Or do you guys, is that one good?
I'm all right.
Page 11. Yeah, the blank page.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion. If you want me to bring it back after corrections, that's totally fine too, I don't mind.
Well, we've got the corrections done when we want, right?
I do, yeah. So I need a motion then.
Were you going to discuss that one driveway, the 75 feet or whatever it was?
That will be
That's fine.
changed after we have to address it in the zoning before we can address it in here, because this does reflect the zoning, but I don't think that's right.
Is there a way we can get that to reflect the zoning without,
It's just, no, we'll just do it.
Just an amendment.
We'll just do it the right way,
Right.
so we'll do
Once
one
the
at a
zoning's
time.
changed, then we'll
Yeah,
come back and.
I'll come back.
yeah. All right, with the corrections, I'll make a motion to approve the town driveway ordinance number 051524.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase, do I have a second?
I'll second that one.
And I have a second by Carl. So, all those in favor?
Right.
Those against? Motion passes. That was almost as long as the zoning ordinance.
No, it wasn't.
No, I guess it wasn't. All right, and Mike, I am sorry I made you sit here for so long because I forgot that you were on here.
No, no problem. It's
Sorry.
entertaining. I know Chase's uncle, so I've negotiated with him before, so.
All right, so Mike Fedowitz has requested on behalf of Family Fireworks to sell fireworks at 9631 State Highway 13 South. Now, Mike, I did contact our local fire departments just to get their feedback on this. I also have read the state statutes, looked at our ordinances and our history here in the town. Mike, I'm gonna let you speak on it first, and then I'll fill in the missing information.
I guess I'm just wondering, how are you planning on doing it? With a tent in the parking lot at the auto?
Yeah.
And what about
what,
storage?
20 by 30 tent. All the fireworks will go from storage bins out onto the tables during the day, back into storage bins in the evening, put them away into my shop, and then rinse and repeat the next day out.
So you'd be storing them in the shop overnight?
That was
That's
my,
a concern of mine.
that was my initial plan. Yeah, I do also have an enclosed trailer. I've got, multiple options available. I mean, if,
Yeah, that's what I require.
obviously I wanna do whatever's compliant with you.
Yeah. So what I require in the city of Nakusa, Dick Highland sells fireworks at Piggly Wiggly.
Okay,
So he has the tent like that, and then he puts them in an enclosed trailer overnight,
okay,
and we wouldn't want it stored in the building. We want
Okay.
it stored away from the building.
okay.
So if something were to happen, we're just fighting a trailer, a 16, 20-foot enclosed trailer,
Sure, understood.
not as big a deal as
Absolutely.